Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurul Syafiqah binti Sainti. My matric number is 256818. Today, I want to discuss a case study regarding to educational data mining using cluster analysis and decision tree technique. What is data mining? Data mining is a widely spread approach for analyzing large data repository to extract necessary or useful information. The goal of data mining application is to extract hidden data patterns and to detect relationship between parameters in a vast amount of data. I will brief a little bit about this case study. Okay, the exploration of data in education using data mining technique is commonly known as educational data mining. Different educational data are stored in large database. This is especially true for an online program. For the support of teaching process and in which student learning behavior can be recorded and stored. The most common type of such information system is learning management system. Many educational institutions evaluate the performance of their students based on final grade, which depend on a course structure assessment and learning objective to achieve an effective and consistent learning process. In this study, cluster analysis and decision tree technique are used to analyze student behavior for a real e-course during one semester. The data used for analysis are event log downloaded from a e-learning system for one e-course at a higher education institution in Croatia for a student generation in 2017-2018. The file in which information system records are stored is called a log file and the data in it are called event logs. Okay, this part we will explain further in methodology. In this part, we will discuss the purpose of the study. The aim of this article is to investigate which recorded elements of student behavior in the e-learning system could contribute to successful passing of exam in the observed e-course. Okay, the research question this article is trying to answer are as follows. The first one, which student information can be extracted from event logs of an e-learning system? The second one, which variable value have a significant influence on grouping students with regard to their behavior in the e-learning system? So, we will take a look at the methodology for the further information. Okay, methodology, we use cluster analysis and decision tree. Cluster analysis is a technique for creating organized collection of patterns into groups based on their similarity of some property or action. Because of the fact that cluster analysis is used for different purposes in educational data mining, one of the most interesting area of its application is for grouping the students to identify typical patterns of behavior. Okay, here the two settings for the cluster analysis were the applied algorithm was k-mean. The number of group was 3. According to testing, it was considered to be the best value with promising results. The grouping variable was student ID. The method chosen for normalization was Z transformation. Measure types for grouping were numerical measure and chosen numerical measure was Euclidean distance. Okay. The next one is the decision tree. The purpose of decision tree is to identify specific object classes. Okay, decision trees use different object attribute to classify different object subsets and do not use just one attribute or a fixed set of attributes. The attractiveness of decision tree is in their easiness for understandability and interpretation. Next one, we will discuss about step educational data mining process. The first one, the analyst needs to select a data set to analyze, which is they need to select the targeted e-course. Okay, the second one, after selecting an e-course, log files from an e-learning environment need to be downloaded. On the basis of the downloaded event logs, the next phase of the educational data mining process can be provided. When the data are downloaded and stored, data cleaning activity can be launched. In this activity, the data analysts perform unnecessary data cleaning and data separation of information that are not relevant for the analysis. After data cleaning activity, data partitioning is performed. This means that the relevant data are extracted and combined for further analysis. This activity depends on data mining technique and the outcome of the analysis. And once there are manageable data, the application of cluster analysis can be performed to create group of students similar within the group and different to another group. According to this group, it is possible to apply another data mining technique over the obtained data. For example, decision tree technique. Okay. The next one, after having the obtained data from cluster analysis, the same could be exported and prepared for decision tree technique implementation. When there is a model resulted from the previous activities, the model validation can be performed. The analyst should be informed in a way of controlling the correctness of the resulting model. After confirming the model validation, the obtained model can be interpreted according to the results. Okay, here we will discuss about data description. Okay, as you can see here, the data used for the analysis are event log downloaded from an e-learning system for one course of a higher education institution in Croatia for a student generation in the 2017-2018 academic year. Okay, the time span here in which the data were observed from February 2018 until June 2018. Okay, here the data originally is 62,985 before the data cleaning. Okay, after removing 3,000 records, this is a typo. Actually, 59,605 records will remain for analysis. Okay. The data cleaning removing information about the activity of system administrator and teachers because only student behavior in the e-learning system was involved. Due to the sensitivity of the data and privacy, only a subset of anonymized data was extracted for further analysis. In total, there were 185 students participating in the e-course during the semester. Okay, this is record for the raw data, which consists of access of data and time, student name, context, component, activity description, source, IP address of student who access the e-course. Okay, the next is for the tool setting for the performance of decision tree technique were respectively the target variable whose outcome was intended to be predicted in the number of student points achieved in two midterm exams, where both midterm exams amounted to 80 points in total. So this setting were applied to all decision trees which resulted from this research. The difference was in the size of the minimal gain, and it was as follows. As you can see on the slide, for the decision tree of the cluster number 0 is 0.105. For the decision tree of the cluster number 1 is 0.081, sorry. And the third one for the decision tree of the cluster number 2 is 0.08. Okay, these values were chosen considering the best resulted branching of the trees and the acceptability of the result for interpreting according to previously obtained clustering model. Okay, in this section, we will interpretation of grouping result. Okay, the aim of grouping the student was to find groups of students who were similar to each other within the group and different in respect to the other groups. The similarity depends on the behavior of the students in an e-learning system during the semester. Okay. Behavior intention is an important predictor of student behavior that varies between different behavior control and normative belief on the desired behavior. The application of K-means methods over the data which contain information about 185 students in one e-course as shown at the diagram. Okay. As we can see, Group 0 contain 84 students, Group 1 contain 82 students, Group 2 contain 19 students. Okay, so this diagram represent the groups of the student in a form of tree. Okay. Okay, now we will move to the interpretation of the result obtained by the decision tree technique. After conducting a cluster analysis which resulted with one model showing three groups of students, three decision tree was created based on this group. Okay, each decision tree model represents the behavior of one group of the student. Okay, in this diagram, represent the decision tree demonstrating the behavior of the student from group 0. Okay. The model shows that there were only a few students for whom the highest frequency of access to materials from lecturer mean the highest frequency of access to other e-contents. Many students in this group had low frequency of access to lecture materials. However, those students who attended the lecture materials mostly accessed the forum. Frequently, access to forum did not mean frequent access to other e-content. Low access to forum also lead to low access to materials from auditory exercise. Low access to materials from auditory exercise also lead to low access to materials from laboratory exercise. Okay, students with greater points in midterm exam combine frequent access to materials from lecturers with frequent access to materials from laboratory exercise. Okay, now we will move to this diagram, which is represent the decision tree for group 1 by cluster analysis. The more often students access material from lecturers, the more they access forum. Low frequency of access to lecturer materials resulted with poor result in the midterm exam. There were many students in this group who mostly applied the combination of accessing lecture materials and materials from auditory exercise. Students in this group with the highest number of points in midterm exam seem to recognize the importance of assessing the combination of materials from lecturer, auditory exercise, and laboratory exercise. The more often they assess lecture materials and materials from auditory exercise, the more likely they were to score better point in the midterm exam. Unlike Group 0, Group 1 consists mostly of students who had medium frequency of access to all e-contents. Alright. Okay, finally, the third decision tree model in this diagram represents the behavior of the student from group 2. Okay, this group was the smallest and contained 19 students who had the highest frequency of access to the content from the e-learning system. According to this diagram, low frequency of access to materials for auditory exercise and laboratory exercise indicate lower score on the midterm exam. Higher frequency of access to materials for laboratory exercise and auditory exercise, as well as more frequent retrieval of lecture materials, which is provide better points at the midterm exam. Okay, many students in this group combine all of these three elements and they achieve very good result at the midterm exam. Okay, so this analysis indicates that from the teacher perspective, content management in the form of focusing on the quality of theory-oriented material is crucial due to the fact that without a well-presented theoretical background, students cannot successfully complete the course. So we have come to the conclusion. Okay, in this article, educational data mining field was explored. This field became very popular in recent years due to the emergence of big data stored in database contain records about student behavior in e-course of higher education institution. Okay, the quality of study program is very important due to the competition between the higher education institution and because of the knowledge students bring with them to the job market after graduation. The decision tree technique was applied to the grouping result to enable a deeper analysis of student behavior in teaching and learning process. Based on the knowledge acquired by educational data mining, course teachers can identify the content of the e-course that is worth putting more attention to emphasize its importance and select more suitable motivating technique to encourage students to use that content while preparing the exam. Okay, as I can see, the aim of this article is achieved. So I hope you guys benefit from what I have talked just now. Thank you. That's all from me.